Welcome back to the Matter of Facts podcast on the Prepper Broadcasting Network. We talk prepping, guns, and politics every week on iTunes, Stitcher, and Spotify. Go check out our content at mwfpodcast.com on Facebook or Instagram. You can support us via Patreon or by checking out our affiliate partners. I'm your host, Phil Rabalais. Andrew and Nick are on the other side of the mic, and here's your show. Okay, so this time I set up all the streams to be horizontal. So for everybody that had to suffer through last week when things were a little wonky, you're welcome. However, my desktop is being a little bit grumpy tonight. So we might have to say an omen to the machine gods to appease the Omnissiah, so that way he'll allow the stream to happen.
Quite possibly.
Yeah. But let's see here. In the chat, I see Raggle, who I got to hang out with last weekend. I was glad he made the trip over to come and see me and my wife and my daughter. See Dr. Scary Guy, and I think I saw Jeff in here. Yep, Jeff's in.
Nice. That's good.
All right. So, welcome back to Matter of Facts podcast, the least professional podcast you could possibly listen to. I mean, I'm sure there's one out there with drunken morons on it, but that's us half the time. So
I'm hydrating today instead of dehydrating.
I mean, what does coffee count as?
There's water in it.
I'm going to go with that. See, I have this argument with my wife constantly that coffee counts as water because it's mostly water.
So does beer at that point.
Well, if we want to get really dark, I mean, cannibalism also counts because aren't human beings 93% water?
I don't know about 90, 70? Or is that the Earth is 70% water? The surface of the Earth. Humans are a certain amount water.
I don't know. I didn't come prepared for a serious conversation.
Well, I don't know that your computer came prepared for any conversation today based on the cutting out we're getting from you.
I think I lost.
Nope. We lost you. Unless my internet's cutting out. Looks fine from my end. Interesting. I'm getting a text from Phil. Well, it looks like Phil might have to reboot, so I will attempt to fail at doing the basic work. All right. Thank you to the patrons for sponsoring the show. Really appreciate it. Yep, Phil definitely did just cut out. Let's see if we can't guilt trip Phil into letting me send him a variety of computer parts on the Patreon chat to see if we can't upgrade his system there. Unless it was his internet, in which case I can't fix that. All right. Speaking of the patrons, secret deadline for the Secret Santa is November 21st at midnight. Stuart is going to send out all of your victims and or beneficiaries probably the following day. I believe that's what he mentioned in the chat. If you guys want to support the show but not through Patreon, you can support us through the merch at Southern Gals. They make some excellent t-shirts. I'm not currently wearing one because it is in the laundry. Phil and Gillian, some of you guys got to meet at the Cyprus Survivalist event last weekend. When Phil comes back, we're probably going to talk about that for a little bit. And then because Phil is terrible at capitalism, I force him to talk about the MOF code at disastercoffee.com. I cannot remember the percentage off. This is normally Phil's job. So, now that we did the admin work, and Phil's not here to stop me, we got to see if we can't have some of you guys bother Andrew to see if we can get him back on for maybe a Christmas episode? I don't know. We could probably figure something out. According to Jeff, Andrew is on a secret mission to hand count every narco boat in Venezuela. That is going to take a shorter and shorter time given how much those are often being destroyed. Yeah. So, you guys in the comments, have you been watching the news lately, following what's going on with that bill? What was that? I can't remember the name of the bill. To release the Epstein client list. Do you guys actually think we're going to see anything valuable come out of that? I mean, do you really think we're going to get anybody convicted based on this stuff, or do you think it's all just going to be a wash? Let me know what you think. I don't know. Raggle says 5%. You mean 5% chance of anybody getting convicted, or we'll see maybe 5% of what they've got? Don't know. So, a couple of the other things we're going to talk about today. Phil just got back from the camping trip with Cypress Survival, so we're going to talk post. He calls it post-deployment checks as well as pre-deployment checks. I think what he's talking about is like what is your checklist for, before you go on a trip, and then what do you check as soon as you get home? Now, let's see what we got here. Makodro says nothing's really going to happen. I'm with you, bud. Jeff, they're done redacting anything useful. Entirely probably. Kyle, one of our favorite feds. 100% they won't do shit. I do not trust the DOJ. I don't think most of us do at this point. I think it's probably, gosh, it used to be seen as one of the more trustworthy federal organizations, but I think at this point it's kind of getting to be where it's one of the least trusted. I mean, I certainly don't count on them to do their job. Jeff, that's why they actually poked the release at this time. That's entirely possible it took them that long to do it. Personally, I was leaning on the side of the DNC was trying to go through it and hold it all back for, let's say, political gains during an election cycle if they needed it, and then Trump was holding on to it to try and sway the midterms. Don't know. Looks like Phil's on his way back in. Does it fix?
We'll see in a minute or two. For reasons I can't explain, every time I try to boot this up in Chrome, it goes berserk.
Really?
Yeah, and Chrome's what I've been using on StreamYard for a very, very long time.
What am I using?
I don't know.
I'm currently using Microsoft Edge. Weird.
I just know this is going to be unpleasant to edit.
It's fine. I covered your admin work. I just can't remember what the discount code percentage was for MOF coffee.
MOF.
No, I remember the name of the discount code, but I couldn't remember what percent off it was. A couple percent off, I think.
I'm a little discombobulated at this point.
That's all good.
I'm not sure what tomfoolery is going on, but I might have to do some testing tomorrow.
Yeah.
And no, Edge is the devil. Edge is the worst browser. I would rather like 2001 Internet Explorer than Edge.
Yeah, I think the only reason I'm using Edge is because I threw this computer together in like a half hour out of cobbled together spare parts. The OS booted on the first shot, and I've not messed with it since we started doing these shows from my basement.
Yeah. Anyway, thank you.
Firefox is better.
Thank you and I'm using Firefox now, but I use Chrome because for years Chrome played a little bit nicer with streaming platforms and like microphone and camera access. Firefox was always just a little persnickety about it, but it's working, so we'll go with it.
Yeah, well, I think that's largely because Firefox has a smaller development team. So if you've got like a weird off-brand driver, you're going to see more conflicts with Firefox than with Google because most people are going to want to play nice with the Google infrastructure.
Yes. Anyway, thanks for covering the admin work. Let's get to the mini topic before we get to the big one. So, are post-deployment checks as important as pre-deployment? Now, let me walk you through this. Nick, whether we're talking about like a range day, a camping trip, a vacation, or whatever, I'm sure you kind of have like a checklist you go through.
Oh, absolutely.
Like you pack your stuff, you make sure your stuff is serviceable, you make sure you have everything you need, you plan for all eventualities, you make sure you have fuel, you make sure you have oil, you make sure your tire pressures are good. Like you do certain things before you take the trip to try to make the trip uneventful.
You make sure you're stocked up on your hole patch kit for your tires. Make sure your air compressor in your car works. all those, the little things that day to day, if you were to run out, between here and work, which for me is like 8 miles, whoop-de-fucking-do,
Mm-hmm.
you know.
45 miles for me.
Right. So for you, a little more critical. That's a bitch of a walk. 8 miles for me, it's like, great. It's going to be, uncomfortable. That's about it. So,
Yeah. So the reason I bring all this up is that because, last weekend I took the family out camping, and because it was kind of a psychotic week at work, like it's been a psychotic year at work.
oof.
Normally I take a day off before the camping trip and a day off afterwards to zhuzh everything.
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
in this case, I happened to be off the day we left, but that really just meant that when I woke up that morning, it was go, 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 go,
Yeah.
drop Piper off at school. Gillian was off, thankfully. So we spent a little bit of time hanging out here at the house. But then, we started packing. But the most pre flight checks I really had to do was the day before we left. I had this entire desk filled with stuff that was getting basically checked for a fresh charge.
Sure,
Like,
yeah.
I make a point of keeping all my battery powered appliances at about 80 to 100%. Like 80%
Yeah.
charge state is better for
Optimum.
lithium ion,
Hmm.
but I top everything off to 100 before I go out, before we go out camping.
Yeah.
But it almost took longer to do the post deployment check when we got home, because then it was unload the truck, put most of the stuff back on the shelves,
Right.
because those shelves get very bare for a camping trip because it all comes out and goes in the truck. I ended up having to do, I think, 6 loads of laundry
That makes sense.
because we had to do a load of clothes, load of towels. Then we wound up washing clothes from one of the bathrooms because that laundry bag was full, and then 3 sleeping bags. You can't wash them. You got to wash those one at a time. They're so heavy.
Right.
And then in the process of doing the wash, side note, I broke my clothes washer and had to repair it. That was fun. Whirlpool problems.
Yeah, well, that's any appliance if you use it heavily enough, especially with big stuff like sleeping bags. Because depending on what you have for a sleeping bag, that thing will take on a shitload of weight in water.
So me and my wife uses a commercial civilian.
Hmm.
I don't know what the name for it is. You know how most bags are like mummy bags where they're kind
Yeah.
of like tied at the toe box?
Hmm.
Killian cannot sleep like that at all. She has to starfish
Oh.
out. So she has like a sleeping bag shaped like a postage stamp.
Oh yeah, the old school ones.
Yeah, well, this one's even
Yeah.
wider than that. Like, she actually told me that
One of the
it's
couples
almost,
bags?
it's not a couple's bag. I mean, maybe if you're a couple that's much smaller than I am,
Well,
but you're not fitting me and my wife in there without a fight.
well.
But it's a bag that's big and comfortable enough for like her to sleep in. But my daughter and I both use the old military sleeping systems.
Yeah, the
So
MMS.
yeah. So
That
what it
takes
boils
on a
down
lot of
to,
water weight too.
they do, and then I don't dare dry them because I know better. So after they come out of the washer, I throw them in the dryer on just air tumble for like 20 minutes to try to get all the
Right.
water out,
Something
and
like
then I
that.
hang them up to dry.
Yeah. It's
But
been a long time since I've actually washed one of my sleeping bags.
yeah, you're not supposed to wash them every single trip if you can help it.
No, it's been a couple of years. We use ours like 2 to 3 times a year at most. So like every few years I'll do it, but they really don't get that dirty. Because a lot of the times when me and my wife camp, we try to do it in the cooler weather, so it's not like you're sweating in them.
Yeah, but come time to actually before we could put all this stuff away, I had to start charging those things again.
Mm-hmm.
And that was an 8-hour job to get
I'll bet.
every single thing up to 80 or 100% charge. Like the
Mm-hmm.
jacker recharges fairly quickly off of a wall socket, so that didn't take too long. Um, I realized when we got home, we'd been running one of the Baofeng radios, basically as a weather radio, and another one, I think the one I gave to my daughter, probably got left on, so it was dead as a doornail when we came home. Like, I realized that when I plugged it in charge and immediately lit up, and I was like, "Oh, you got left on. That's unfortunate."
Oops.
And then we had 2 little puck lights, a lantern, the battery powered fan, which we use kind of like in the gear loft for white noise and everything, and circulate the air in the tent.
That can help a lot.
It can, but it was an 8 hour job to get all that stuff recharged before it could all get put away.
Yeah.
Plus the laundry, plus putting all this stuff away. And I got to thinking to myself, I'm like, part of the reason why it was so fast for us to get our stuff into the truck in the first place was because, like, putting everything on a charger just that evening to like make sure it was topped off, that took an hour and a half, 2 hours.
Yeah.
Almost everything was stored already fully charged or close to it. Everything was already really packed. Like a lot of my big tough boxes, they stay packed with all the stuff that we know we're going to want for a camping trip. So it's not like I'm having to like find this, buy this. It's already in the box. And if it's not in the box, we replenish it before we put the box away. So
that makes a lot of sense.
So it got me thinking about this idea that like it's the post-deployment checks that make the pre-deployment checks faster and simpler.
Absolutely.
It's kind of like the reason why to this day, like every firearm in this house stays loaded at all times. They all stay secure, but they all stay loaded because I don't want to hear a glass break in the middle of the night and have to figure out which gun has a magazine in it. The answer is yes. If I pick it up, it is condition 3 or cruiser ready. It is ready to start rocking and rolling. If I pick up a radio in this house, it's ready to turn on and start doing work. It's already programmed. It's already charged. It's ready to go. If I grab those sleeping bags, if I grab like one of the bundles of sleeping bags, I know I've got a cold weather and a warm weather bag in there. I've got the Gore-Tex. I've got everything I need in there. I'm ready to go. Mm-hmm. And that's kind of the way, whether it's camping stuff or preparedness stuff, that's the way everything is set up. It is stored, ready to use.
Yeah.
So I kind of make that argument that the reason why I can grab anything off the shelf and just trust it's going to work is because when I get home, I don't just throw it up against a wall and then, abandon it. I take the time to clean it, recharge it, recondition it, replenish it, whatever's needed, and then it goes into storage. But it goes into storage ready to do work if it's called upon.
That makes a lot of sense. I mean, a lot of what I do for post checks is a lot of our trips are vehicle-based road trips. We don't really fly anywhere. And we like to bring our dog with us as much as we can because she does not handle being left with other people very well. Mm. She's a very high-stress little dog. She's a rescue, and it takes her a very long time to warm up to new people, especially if me or my wife are not there. So we take our personal vehicles to a lot of places. Well, so when we get back, usually what we do is everything comes in, everything goes down to the basement onto the game tables. We have a couple big gaming tables set up for wargaming or D&D, Magic Gathering, stuff like that down in our basement. Actually, just on the other side of the wall from me here. All of it gets all laid out, except for the laundry. Laundry just goes immediately into the wash. That's easy to do, not a problem. But I usually don't do the post-deployment checks, as you're calling them, the day we get back. Because exhausted. But what I do over the next week is I will go through every single thing we took with us, check the state of repair it's in, any charges, anything that's got disposable batteries in it, like a lot of our camp headlamps, they use AAAs. I got a sister with a connection that gets us really cheap, high-quality AAA batteries, so we use a lot of disposables for those. All the batteries get pulled out because we might not use that stuff again for 3 to 6 months. And so what I'll do then is I put those batteries in a separate little plastic battery container so that if the batteries do go bad in the meantime, great. I can clean that container out. It hasn't destroyed the electronic device. That and we don't get parasitic discharge, draining the battery out just sitting in the thing. Check your tire pressure, check your fluid levels in the vehicles. Verify, your mileage on your vehicle. Make sure you're not going over your mileage for oil changes and stuff like that. Take a look at your brakes. Take a look at your belts, wipers, anything like that on your vehicle is a lot of what I go over. Because a lot of the stuff we take with us is stuff we also use in everyday life. I mean, we have our camping boxes that we use. Like I've got a I think it's a box for 100 millimeter rockets. It's a British 100 millimeter big metal rocket box, old
Mm-hmm.
military surplus thing I picked up somewhere. That thing will fit a Coleman stove, several of the little green refillable propane cylinders, most of the cooking utensils we need, and it's all right there. So if we ever have, whenever we have like that ice storm that I've mentioned on here before, I can grab that, take it into the garage, or take it up into my kitchen, and I have everything I need to start cooking right there in that box. It all goes right back in there. Kyle,
Yeah.
be prepared to have stuff bust your windshield in Indiana. Yes. Him and
What's
his
going on in
family,
Indiana?
that Kyle and his family caught that lug nut off a semi to the windshield on their way up to
Oh,
the summer
Jesus.
camp
Yes.
that almost came through their windshield. That was a nasty hit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
To Raggle's point, yeah, we wound up leaving Saturday. Not that we couldn't have, because like we were originally planning on coming home Sunday
Mm-hmm.
11 noonish, and I could have got everything done that afternoon if I needed to. But for us, it was more just the fact that like he'd come out to see us on Saturday. My parents spent a couple
Mm-hmm.
hours with us hanging out around the campfire, and after that, it was kind of like, okay, we're literally doing nothing else here except sleeping in a tent one more night, or we could
Sure.
pack it up and we could shower and be in our beds tonight. So those are the decisions you can make when you're only camping like 45 minutes away from home.
Absolutely.
Little bit of a different situation if you're in a group and you're like 8 hours from home.
That's very true.
But yeah, that was just kind of the thing I was thinking about. Like, to me, like I'm very upfront about the fact that like most of this camping stuff or preparedness stuff, it's hurricane stuff. Like,
Yeah.
those radios are there, that way if the cell towers get knocked out, I can still have comms with my wife around the neighborhood. There's a radio in the truck so that I can push out like a mile and a half if need be, and still talk to her here at the house. The man pack's there so that we have comms over longer range if need be. If she's here at the house and I have to be in the truck, halfway across town. The kitchen box is there to cook outside. The lantern's there for light. The Jackery's there to provide power. Like, everything in here that we take camping is ostensibly a soft test for all those systems to make sure they still work, so that the next time the lights go out, we're not caught flat-footed.
And so you stay proficient with them. I mean, there is a difference between cooking on a camp stove and cooking on your regular range. There always is.
Yes,
And
I can smoke cigars while cooking on my range outside.
you could also smoke cigars if you have an overhead exhaust hood like I do.
My wife would tolerate 0% of that idea, Nick, but nice try.
Yeah, mine probably wouldn't like it either. But you can do it because we have an overhead exhaust hood that actually vents outside. So,
I cannot,
technically.
because my wife has a very strong right arm, and I have cast iron within grabbing range.
Oof, that's dangerous business, man. You really got to
Yeah.
lock that dangerous weapons away.
I mean, I'm married. Feminist. I was going to say, like, sexual revolution, second wave feminism. You can't lock the dangerous weapons away anymore. People scream and yell about it.
Well, that's fair.
Oh, you were talking about the cast iron, not the wife.
I was more worried about the cast iron, yeah.
I was worried about the dangerous thing that might stove my head in.
Bah. We like that
A little bit of it's fun and cheeky.
one. Mm-hmm.
All right. Main topic, nothing to wear. Because
Yes.
as much as my plan has always been to wait until the SHTF pops off and then it's like combat boots, hockey mask, and spiked codpiece, I'm 99% sure that bold plan is not going to totally pan out, and I might actually need to wear something approximating clothing for at least a while.
I mean, clothing, as much as we are legally required to wear it, which, to be fair, we are legally required to wear it, it is the bare minimum of PPE, personal protective equipment, that you can have. And, if you're in a situation where things are out of normal, having that PPE can be a serious advantage for you, because the last thing you need is to slice open your leg on something stupid or slice open your foot on something stupid And now you're less mobile and you have a potentially infected wound.
Yep. Or you get exposed. I mean, down here, hell, half the reason I continue to tell everybody I wear long sleeves year round when I'm out in the woods is mosquitoes and
Mm-hmm.
ticks and all sorts of other little biting creatures. I mean,
Well, you're closer to the equator, so sunstroke, heat stroke, and sunburn is a serious concern.
yeah. And for those of you who think to yourself, like, you got to bear in mind, like, you think about people that live in deserts, think like Bedouins, think like, some of the older, more traditional tribal people of the Middle East, like, we refer to them as man jammies, but they're literally
Mm-hmm.
covered almost from head to toe, and that's literally to keep the sun off of them. Because if once you have a sunburn develop, you're going to dehydrate at an astronomically faster rate.
Oh my gosh, yes.
Like the idea that I'm trying to be cool and comfortable flies out the window compared to I have to keep the angry Super Mario son from cooking me alive.
Mm-hmm. Doc brings up a good point. Bramble bushes all over. Dude, my property is just ringed with raspberry bushes, which, delicious, giant pain in the ass to walk through.
This entire wood line over here next to me is a constant exercise. Every time I mow it, I have to get the weed eater or the machete or something and cut back all the thorns that are trying to poke out of it.
Mm-hmm.
And sooner or later, I will wind up having to get out there and do something really ignorant, like get the axe or the chainsaw and like genuinely like try to bush hog some of that crap out. Like most of the time, I say if you stay on that side of the wood line, I leave you alone. And if it starts swinging out this direction, then I'll cut it. But
You
sooner
need
or
a
later, I'm
corn
gonna have to,
knife.
huh?
You need a corn knife.
I mean, I've literally got a couple of like full size machetes in the garage, so
That'll do all right. Corn
yeah.
knife works better on whippy stuff. It's somewhat serrated. It's like a handheld sickle. It's more serrated. It tends to cut stuff down easier.
Even though I wouldn't say it's the preferred method, honestly, I wind up using the weed eater a lot.
Yeah,
It
it'll do the job.
does. I mean, it freaks people out a little bit when you're like whipping it around head high, but it does do the job.
My neighbor has a type of flowering vine that is invasive, and I don't want it getting into my yard because it will kill my nice hardwood trees. So I will walk down her fence line at 6 feet high and just buzz the whole side of it off. Like you're not supposed to have it planted in this state because it's invasive. So as far as I'm concerned, it can go.
Not that I would hmm. In Minecraft, you should look into some herbicide.
I my Speaking of herbicides,
In
my
Minecraft.
my grandfather acquired a particular herbicide that is no longer legal to manufacture
That
or
sounds
apply.
spicy.
It We made the mistake of using it to kill some multiflora rosa, and if you're familiar with that stuff, Phil, it's horribly tenacious. You usually have to dig the roots out to get rid of it, and if you miss a root, it comes back. This
Let
stuff
me
turns
see.
the soil gray.
Let me sing you the song of my people. We had a little cluster of banana trees growing in my childhood home in the
Ugh.
backyard. Now, if anybody here has never played with banana trees, those things were invented by Satan, and they are more tenacious than herpes.
Mm-hmm.
We chopped them down to the ground. They sprung right back up out of the stumps. We dug up the root balls. They came back up out of the soil. These things do not know how to die. They are more, I mean, they're harder to kill than venereal diseases. But I have it on good authority in Minecraft that if you happen to know someone with a commercial herbicide license, they can take some stuff that's supposed to be mixed 100 to 1 with water and pour it onto the stump undiluted.
Yep.
And nothing will grow within 2 feet of that stump for about 5 years.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Raggle
there's
Fraggle. Chicken trees. I don't
I'm
know it by
familiar
that
with that.
name, but my wife would probably be like, my wife would probably come in and bust the door down like the Kool-Aid man and start speaking Latin and telling you about where it grows and where it's native to and all that stuff. I literally tell my wife every time she's like, hey, cut that, but don't cut that. I'm like, no. You direct me exactly what you want me to do because it all looks like weeds to me.
It all looks the same. Yeah,
Uh,
well, when you don't know, you don't know.
yeah. It's a Japanese something or the other. Okay, I'll ask Mrs. Matter of
It's
Facts about. Hey,
probably
is there?
invasive.
I'm sure it is, dude. There's so much invasive species down here because it all comes up from the port of New Orleans and everything. I mean, hell,
Mm-hmm.
Nutri-Rats.
Yeah, Nutri-Rats are a problem. I hear they don't taste terrible, though.
I've never eaten one. I've been chased by one.
Really? Are they
Dude,
that aggressive?
they're as big as cats.
Huh.
And here's Gil Rab. Okay, Raggle Frag was asking about chicken trees. He said it's a Japanese something or another.
Hmm.
And I told him you'd kick the
I'm
door in like the
interested to
Kool-Aid
know.
Man and start spouting off in Latin because you probably know all about it because you're just a genius about that stuff.
So, obviously, Phil, you and I live in wildly different climates. So, as
Master of
far
the understatement you are, yes.
yeah, well, so protective clothing for us is going to vary a bit. For you, it's going to be, I'm going to guess, for summer, lighter, thinner cottons to take advantage of the cooling properties of the cotton, or some of the modern like what do they call them? The performance microfibers.
Yeah, I don't wear them, but I know what you're talking about. I usually go straight to like
Mm-hmm.
either, if not a total cotton, like a cotton poly blend.
Mm-hmm.
I tend honestly like my go tos are. I have some short sleeve shirts. I have a lot of long sleeve shirts that have like the button hook and everything where you could roll
Yeah.
the sleeve up. I don't own hardly any pairs of shorts, which is why my little Irish legs are so white. I wear long pants year round, flip flops in the summer, pretty good into winter, and
Mm-hmm.
if I'm off the pavement and I'm out in the woods, it's closed toed shoes. I mean,
Yeah.
I'll wear flip flops as far as like from the tent to like make morning coffee or something. But if we're going like on a hike or whatever, it is immediately straight to closed toed shoes and hiking boots. I heard you say my wife through the wall and had to jump on.
Your scientific feedback is important.
I mean, she's far more intelligent than I am about a lot of things,
Mm-hmm.
most things.
That's why it's important to have a wife. They fill in those knowledge gaps. So for me, a lot of the time during the summer, we tend to have hot, but not as hot as you do. The sun isn't quite as bad. So when I'm not doing like work, shorts, yeah, shorts are fine. But
Chinese tallow.
Ah,
See, I don't think I've ever heard it called a chicken tree, but a tallow tree I have heard of. Sorry, Nick. Go ahead.
you're good. Um, so, but around us, spring, fall, winter, heavy canvas pants. Um, a lot of times I'll go for water resistant or at the very least materials that don't hold water very well or that let's see, like nylon, polyester, stuff like that. But in my line of work, because I'm dealing with hot steel chips all the time, I have found that there are some of the like heavy canvas pants that are
Mm-hmm.
DWR treated, so you get a little bit of the benefits of the water resistance without the polyester fabric melting to your skin, which is a real upgrade in my opinion. The I recognize that guy. The As far as like shirts and jackets, I tend to favor heavy canvas jackets or like wool quarter zip pullovers. They do a better job of keeping like the heavy thorns off you. They do a better job of keeping the bugs off you. They're a little bit warmer, but they're not too warm that you can't work in them. Whereas like a lot of the puffy pullovers, the nylon is so darn thin, if you try to do anything with them, it tends to get ripped or torn incredibly easily and it melts.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, I know that summers around here don't, the sun isn't quite as bad down by you, but I've gone to wearing a lot of the like the Huck and the performance fishing shirts when I'm working out in the yard in the summer. They suck for thorns, they suck for mosquitoes, but man, dude, they are so much cooler to wear. You should try them out.
I do get the impression that they're kind of they're a very specialized
Mm,
thing. And no, Stuart, we're not starting over. Not happening.
true.
Let's see here. Wool is great, keeps working even when wet. I will say this
It
much,
does.
since we're in that vein of like clothing. Quite a number of years ago, I was advised by a person who knows infinitely more than I do about like long range hiking and general outdoorsy stuff than I do. And I spend a fair amount of I like to go outdoors, but this guy put me to shame.
Mm-hmm.
And he advised that I spend an absolutely gratuitous amount of money on real wool hiking socks. Smart wool was
Yeah,
what he recommended.
I like darn
And
tough.
before I bought my first couple pairs of those, which thankfully they were on sale because they were like $22 a pair on sale.
Mm-hmm.
All I'd ever worn was like, cotton socks. And I just kind of took it for granted that your feet were going to smell like death. And, you're going to have to change your socks like once or twice a day because they get soaked through with sweat and everything. I just kind of took that for granted. And he convinced me to give it a try. So I bought 3 pairs and I have never, ever worn cotton socks a day since with my hiking boots. Period in discussion. Infinite, like, your feet don't stink, they don't sweat as much. It doesn't hold the moisture up against your skin. It wicks
Mm-hmm.
away better. It turns the act of being in hiking boots for like 12 to 16 hours into something that's much more pleasurable. And when you go to sleep at night, if you let's say you're rugged hiking, rugged camping, and like you don't shower every night, when you get into the bed and you take those socks off, everyone else in the tent will thank you.
Mm-hmm. I wear them every day, even during the summer, because of my. I have to wear steel toe boots at work, and boots are hot. They are, and I was under the misconception that wool socks would make my feet sweat more. They're actually cooler and more comfortable in the summer than my cotton socks ever were.
I mean, it's not an unfair assumption to make because I think we automatically associate wool with being warm because most of the
Yeah,
time you're wearing like wool outer clothing,
yeah,
wool
wool
uppers.
sweater, wool like a wool smoking jacket or those fancy dress jackets.
Yeah, but a couple good pairs of merino wool socks, it truly does change the entire experience of being in boots.
Mm-hmm.
Matter of fact, we were at prepper camp several years ago, and I think it was called Old Grump. It was a military surplus store. They had a vendor's booth set up there, and on Sunday around lunchtime, it was like blow everything out, get rid of everything because they didn't want to have to bring it home, right?
Right.
Like you know
Yeah.
how that works.
Oh
So
yeah.
they
It's
had
it's every convention or fishing show or anything like that.
so they had a box of I think it was 4 or 6 packs of wool boot socks, like no name
Okay.
brand, but they seemed like they were fairly decent quality. And I think they were like $10 for 4 pairs or $10 for 3 pairs. I don't remember. I know that I grabbed two bundles and checked out. Everybody, like literally everybody that walked in there grabbed a couple
Hmm.
because it was just so friggin' cheap. And I mean, I keep them for backup wool socks.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
The one of the things I wanted to bring up too was you had that hurricane where you had the tree come down on your house, Phil. Uh,
Hmm.
Anytime you guys are in a situation where there could be debris around, there could be down tree branches, you could be working with heavy tools. Yes, it is going to be hotter. You are going to be a little less comfortable, but you should probably put on some heavier clothing. Even if it means you're going to be a little more dehydrated, you're going to have to drink extra water. A heavy pair, keep a heavy pair or two of canvas pants, even if you don't normally wear them, for each of your family members. Long sleeve canvas shirt, depending on your environment, either canvas or wool or any of the work shirts. Heck, a good Dickies stiff, thick cotton work shirt will do a pretty good job of keeping like branches and stuff from sticking into you. Good heavy pair of work gloves. You know.
I've really taken to Wrangler.
Oh yeah,
So
their ATG
Wrangler,
pants are pretty good.
yeah. So I don't have any of the ATGs. I use their it's I forget exactly which line, but it's one of their lines of work pants.
Mm-hmm.
And at this point, I got a closet full of them. Like
Yeah,
they're comfortable. They don't hold moisture quite as badly as denim will. They're fairly tough. They're much more lightweight. Like they're nice enough that in the slate gray or in like the khaki color, I can go to
they can
work in
pass
them.
for dress pants. Yeah,
Yeah, you can pass them. You can pass them off for like kind of casual office gear.
I've got
And
three or
and
four pairs of their.
for the shirts, yeah, they're ATG shirts. They used to
Mm-hmm.
have it was before they had their ATGs. It was a similar long sleeve button down, eyelets on the shoulders.
Mm-hmm.
It was a similar plaid shirt, and I've got a bunch of those. I mean,
Yeah,
they're comfortable, they're durable. To me, it is always what I always write a fine line of is I don't like buying expensive things because I wind
right.
up screwing them up.
Sure.
The sole exception to that is boots.
Yes.
I will spend
Boots,
a
tires, bed,
yes,
and
not so much.
brakes.
I buy as expensive a bed as I have to for my wife. I could sleep on the floor, but yes, I absolutely refuse to skimp on boots because when I put on a pair of boots for a hiking trip, I'm going to wear them until like damn near bedtime that night. They
Yeah.
better be comfortable.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I'm sure everybody's got an older family member that's told them this rule. Anything that separates you from the ground or slows down or starts up your vehicle are things you should not scrimp on. Your batteries, your tires, your brakes, your boots, or your bed.
Tires, especially, even though that's kind of
Mhm.
off topic. I mean,
Well, it's,
think about it
yeah.
like this: if you go out to your vehicle right now and you look at you measure like how many square inches of actual tire is touching the pavement and multiply that by 4, that is all the thing connecting your vehicle to the ground. And that
Yep.
means every horsepower and every little tickle of the brakes has to go through those 4 tiny little contact patches. So you can have these gigantic huge tires, but that's all the contact patch you're going to get.
Absolutely. You know, Ragel said that's why his work boots cost $230. Quality costs, man. It does.
Yep.
Like just like you said. But you know what? One thing you can do to make those work boots last longer, even though they are expensive, buy 2 pair. And I'll tell you why. You if you alternate wearing them every other day, this does 2 things for you. It allows the insoles and the soles of the boots to fully decompress after you've been wearing them for 8 to 12 hours, and it allows all of the fabric and insulation or the foam or the leather to completely dry back out.
Mm-hmm.
Your boots will last more than twice as long. I've got 2 pair of boots. I picked both of them up in 2019. I'm thinking I will probably have to replace one of them next year. Now, when I was buying just 1 pair of boots, I was getting about 2 years out of them.
Yeah. Fortunately, my Solomons have lasted a good long while, but it's because, I mean, they only really get worn
When you're hiking.
when I'm hiking or if I'm doing like heavy yard work. Like if I'm chainsawing stuff, I want to have the boots on just because it's the toughest pair of shoes I own.
Well, yeah, because what happens if a log rolls on your foot?
Well, 9 times out of 10, I'm stomping over yard debris and everything else if I got the chainsaw out. So
Exactly.
that's a thing. But
Yeah,
yeah,
a
I
little
mean,
bit of
since
extra ankle support can mean a lot.
yeah, and see, here's the thing: sturdy outerwear and protective equipment kind of start to
Hmm.
bleed together at a
They
moment like
do.
this because, like, we've talked about the fact that, like, chainsaw, you ought to have chaps, you better have some heavy gloves, better have some eye
Mhm.
protection, and you better
Yes.
have your helmet and the whole 9 yards. Like, eh, every tradesman has joked about safety squints, but please don't joke about safety squints.
No, and I've even gone to the point of going out of my way to acquire glasses frames because I wear glasses pretty much all the time. I probably don't need to, but I get headaches looking at things far away if I don't
Hmm.
wear them. So it just makes my life a little more comfortable. I buy the metal framed glasses that are impact rated. These are ANSI rated safety frames with polycarbonate impact rated lenses. Yeah, it costs a little more money, but on the off chance that I end up forgetting to change to my work safety glasses for something, I've still got a little bit better eye protection on. And I buy glasses about every 7 to 10 years anyway.
I'm pretty sure Raggle was joking, saying, "What are all these things which you speak of?" But I'm just going to tell you
Safety
something,
gear.
bud. You've only got two eyes and two ears. My ears are already shot. My eyes are still holding up relatively well. So,
You know, you see a lot of guys that they're like, you don't need to wear safety glasses. Right up until they have to have a piece of steel pulled out of their eye at the optometrist's office. Because you can't anesthetize that. And you get to watch the entire time they're doing it.
I've never had to have like a splinter pulled out of my eye. But I will admit, I've there's been a time or two where like even though I was wearing safety glasses, I've had like a stream of sawdust or something like
Mm-hmm.
sneak in around, and I end up with scratch cornea and that whole thing. Like I just I will always be a stickler for safety gear because as careful as I try to be, there have been times where that safety gear has been the only thing saving me from an emergency room visit.
Oh, absolutely. It
And
is it happens faster than people think. Especially if people are not used to operating power tools.
yeah, and I would almost argue it happens more when you are used to operating them because you get complacent
Oh,
eventually.
you absolutely can get complacent.
I mean, we've all seen the lathe video, right, where the dude took the ride. I
Mm-hmm.
promise you that wasn't his first day standing in front of that thing.
I would like to hope not. Because if it was, where
Machinist
was
just
his
wasn't.
trainer?
Yeah. Well, my suspicion is he probably leaned over that thing a handful of times and got away with it until he didn't.
Yeah. And I have had to have that exact talk with a couple of much more senior machinists than myself, even at my own company. Like, hey, guy, you could die, and I really don't want to clean you off the ceiling. So, Jeff, safety glasses are the only thing I've never gotten lazy about. Me too.
As
I,
you shouldn't. You've only got
I,
two eyes.
you know, I had the great fortune to learn at the expense of some of my family members who injured themselves fairly regularly when I was a young child, usually within sight of me. So I kind of got it impressed upon me fairly early that these things are not optional. So, um, you know, aside from the normal protective equipment, like a safety glasses, ear protection, even like your electronic shooting ear protection is better than nothing. Uh, let's see, what was it? The mesh helmets that they have for chainsaw and fill that just really keep the dust out.
Mm-hmm.
They make polycarbonate full face shield ones that you can get that are about the same price. I think that's actually a better buy for somebody that's going to be doing a lot of general work because it's more applicable to other tools as well. Like you can't use the chainsaw one if you're running an angle grinder. The particulate matter that's coming off it is too fine,
Yeah.
and it's going to get right through that mesh. Because that mesh on the chainsaw ones is really only meant to stop large wood shavings.
Yeah, I mean, it's meant to stop chips,
Mm-hmm.
not sawdust.
Right. Right. It's
Although, in that case, I
because
would
you're
argue
supposed to
that
wear safety glasses under that.
I do.
Yeah.
But I would almost argue that, like, if you're getting a face full of sawdust, you're probably using your chainsaw incorrectly because I can't speak for everybody else, but it didn't take me very long to realize if I do this, the sawdust goes that direction.
All it takes is a wind gust.
Yeah, but it's still the difference between like like a cloud of
Oh
sawdust and
yeah.
like a steady stream coming off the bar.
Oh sure. Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
But since we're talking about protective equipment, I love to throw people curveballs.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
Flashlight.
Flashlight, because guess what? My wife and I, we try to go out walk several times a week to fight the battle of the bulge. Me more than
Mm-hmm.
her, because she's lost a good chunk of weight, and I lost a bit and then stopped because daylight savings time and it getting dark at like 4:45 in the afternoon kind of screwed me up. But this is now protective equipment because when we go out walking, this is to make sure that if there's a car that just got off of work and has come through the neighborhood, they can see us.
Mm-hmm.
So things like reflective devices, lights, quickly become protective equipment because getting run over by a 4,000-pound car doesn't sound like a vibe.
No, absolutely not. I've been hit by a car before, and it went surprisingly well for me. I would not like to repeat it because I don't think it will go that well next time.
So what you're saying is just because you rolled the dice and didn't come out snake eyes doesn't mean you want to keep rolling them.
God no. God no. Cars are bigger than me and much stronger, usually. But you never know. Yeah, flashlights are a great piece of protective equipment because if you can't see, you're far more likely to injure yourself. I mean, it sounds kind of basic, but I mean, everybody's got the cell phone. We bring this up all the time. You flash on their halfway decent flashlight. Use it.
Yeah. Oh, here's the thing. Do you keep a raincoat in your vehicle?
Yeah. Poncho. Shitty poncho, but a poncho.
Doesn't matter. It could be a crappy $5 Walmart poncho, but
Keep you from getting hypothermia.
Not getting your clothing soaking wet is definitely going to improve your comfort, if nothing else.
Yeah.
But to me, that just goes along with everything else. It's like you should have the proper clothing for the environment you're in.
Mm-hmm.
And if that environment happens to be wet, like it is down here 370 days out of the year, then you should probably be able to account for that.
Yeah, absolutely.
I don't do it anymore, but there was a time when I kept literally a pair of shrimp boots in the truck at all times.
That's probably not a terrible idea down where you are for how often you guys get floodwaters.
Yeah, the problem is if the water gets above the top of the shrimp boot, now you have a new problem to deal with.
Well, yeah, your boot fills full of water.
Yeah.
Raga brings up a good one. Blanket. Keep a blanket in your car, especially if you're up north by me. It's an excellent idea. I usually keep an extra jacket in my car for layering. I need to get better about keeping a spare change of clothes in my car, but that's more of a work hazard thing.
So I don't actually keep like a jacket or a coat or anything in my truck year round because for like 10 and a half months out of the year, it's kind of a superfluous exercise.
I mean, we have days in the summer where it can be 60 degrees and 50-mile-an-hour winds. That can get kind of chilly, even in the summer.
So, no, Jeff, I don't have truck waders, but that's mostly because I'm not in that environment I'm not in the environment anymore these days where that comes up often enough to merit it. My wife, on the other hand, does keep rain boots in her vehicle at all times because she has to work car line, which means escorting little urchins out to their vehicles, sometimes when it's pouring down raining.
Yep, there's my wife. Once it starts snowing, she keeps all of her winter gear in the car.
Yeah.
She never knows when she could be called to sub for one of the teachers. So
well, and that's what I was going to say. That's what I was going to say earlier. Like, most of the year I don't keep a coat in the truck. There is you've been to this part of the country once or twice in your life, I'm sure.
I've been to Florida.
Okay. Northern or southern?
Where's Disney? My parents decided to take us to Disney at one point.
I mean, it's on the border. But anyway.
Yeah.
So it is worth pointing out that, like, there is a portion of the year down here where it is pretty freaking cold early in the morning.
Sure.
But by like 8, 9 o'clock, it's warmed up and it's like shorts and short sleeves, shirt weather.
Yeah.
And we have that weird transitionary period for a couple of weeks on either side of winter. And those are the times when, even though I could just run out to the truck, tough it out, jump in, turn the heater on, and I don't need to bring a coat with me everywhere I go, I still take a coat and throw it in the truck and then bring it back in that evening, because in my mind, it is always the question of like, okay, let's say today's the day I have to change a tire, change a spare on the side of the road. Would I rather do that freezing my butt off at 40 degrees? Or would I rather have a nice warm coat?
It's always, everything is always easier when you're comfortable.
Yeah. Stewart's so for the sake of full disclosure, like Stewart is at I think almost exactly the same latitude I am over in
Mm-hmm.
Texas. Exact same weather. There's the I don't know if I would say it's like 2 weeks exactly, but like there is this weird little transitionary period where it definitely feels like winter in the morning, but it definitely feels like fall in the afternoon.
So up where I'm at, we have this interesting thing that we like to call second fall, third winter, first, second, or third summer.
Oh, Finter or Wall.
Yeah. Basically, what we'll get is starting in October, we will get wild fluctuations from down into the 30s to sometimes as high as 80,
That's uncalled for.
occasionally in the same week, sometimes in the same day.
Uncalled
I
for.
have had days where it snowed overnight and it was 80 degrees when I left work at 3 p.m. It was dumb. It is
It's
extra dumb.
it sounds pretty dumb, to be honest, Nick.
It is. It is. It's just the consequence of living in the hell that is Illinois. But for that reason, I keep like I don't know what the hell you call it. It's one of those zip up fleeces that's not really windproof and it's not really a sweatshirt weight. It's kind of in between.
Sounds kind of like a cardigan almost.
I don't know, man. It's like a, North Face made them really popular back in the 2000s.
I know exactly what you're
You
talking
know
about.
exactly what I'm talking about. Where it's kind of got that like nylon front to it, and a lot of it, and then the rest of it's that fluffy kind of fleece material. Those
Yep.
things are fantastic for layering when you, number one, didn't bring enough jacket, or number two, your wife didn't bring enough jacket.
Also a thing, yes.
Yeah. I like to keep one of those in my car because I can take pretty much whatever jacket I've worn. If I throw that thing under or over it, you can take it down into the 30s, and most jackets will be okay as long as you have something that breaks the wind and then that extra insulation.
Yeah. So before we start walking this one out, spares. We already talked about spare shoes,
Mm-hmm.
and like in the name of full disclosure, like I have a formula for how much underwear and socks and undershirts I pack for anywhere I'm going. It's
Yeah.
the number of days I expect to go times 150%.
Yep.
If I expect to be someplace for 4 days, I'm bringing
Two,
6 days worth of stuff.
200% for socks is my rule.
That's there's no wrong answer here except to not have enough. But I'm going to tell you that I would much prefer have to recycle a pair of pants several times than go with, or listen, I'd rather ditch underwear completely than go without socks.
Yep.
Or
Go
have to wear
without
dirty,
socks.
nasty, sweaty socks.
Well, that's one nice thing about wool socks, though, man. If you take, and I have tried this a couple of times just for the sake of trying it. You take your wool socks that you wore today, throw them up to hang overnight. Especially if you can get them somewhere exposed to direct sunlight. The next day you put those back on. They are not as nice as a fresh washed pair of wool socks. No. But they are functional, and they damn sure are a sight better than previously worn cotton socks. Or heaven
This
forbid,
is
silk
true.
socks.
This is all true. Not debating any of that. But
Mm-hmm.
I repeat, I will suffer. I will not pack a lot of things to have extra socks
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
and extra undershirts. I will wear the exact same like outer shirt or flannel or whatever multiple times and just suck it up. But give me my extra undershirts and socks.
Absolutely. I mean, I don't know. What's your EDC pistol, Phil? I can't remember.
So it's a Canik C100. It's a clone of a CZ75 compact.
How aggressive is the grip texture on it?
With the grips I have on it now, It's not as aggressive as it used to be. Put it that way. I
Okay.
used to have grip panels on there. I think they were lock or maybe they were VZ
Yeah,
grip. They were VZ
those are pretty
grips.
aggressive.
Yeah, you've seen the VZ grips where like it's almost like individual little pyramids
Yeah.
on the grips. I
hmm
had those.
Neural. Yeah, the aggressive stipple knurling. Yeah.
I literally developed a callus on the
hmm
side, like on the side of me, right where it used to rub. I swapped out to lock grips, which are still fairly aggressive, but the texture has a flat face to it,
hmm
so not as bad. But if what you're about to ask is, do I have shirts that have holes in them on this side?
hmm
Yes.
No, what I was getting to was so I have M&P 2.0C. Have you ever felt the grip on one of those?
On what? What was it?
An M&P 2.0.
Um, not on M&P.
Imagine like 40 grit aluminum oxide sandpaper.
Oh Jesus!
It is phenomenal as far as for shooting goes. But if
It's
I'm
not.
not wearing an undershirt, I had one day where it was too hot. I was not going to wear an undershirt when we were on vacation, and I didn't. It sanded its way through my skin so bad it was bleeding in a couple of spots because of how aggressive that grip texture is. That was
That's what
horrible.
happens.
Yeah, that was a bit aggressive. I've toned it back, and it's still that aggressive. But the great thing is when you're shooting it, it doesn't move in your hands at all, no matter how much you sweat.
Yeah, you just have to, abrade the skin around the grip to make it to draw it.
Pretty much, yeah, you do. But that's what the undershirts are for. Then you don't have a problem. Though it does wear a hole in your undershirt eventually.
Yeah. So what else do we talk about for spares? Because
So
I'll be really honest, like I probably have spares of most things in my wardrobe, but not necessarily do I like carry with me. Like if I bring a jacket, I'm bringing a jacket. I ain't bringing like spare jacket. You know what I'm saying?
yeah, I can understand that for heavy outerwear. Absolutely, I'm talking. My thought in spares was, do you have a second pair of work gloves in the different weights that you like?
I mean, I've got two pairs of heavy work gloves, and then
Mm-hmm.
like I think three or maybe four pairs of mechanics because those things are basically disposable.
Yeah, you wear through the fingers on those pretty fast. I try to keep one brand new pair of each of the gloves that I like. So I've got a pair of the Mechanics Fast Fits that I am currently abusing to death. I've got a brand new pair still on the hanger. I've got a pair of leather work gloves for when I'm working with timber or thorny shit or any crap that's on fire because leather gloves just seem to handle being slightly on fire better than synthetics. Um,
110%.
yeah. And then I've got usually a pair spare of each of the insulated gloves that I like because I've got like a two pair of fingerless gloves that I wear when we do hiking and stuff like that. A couple pair of just the thin wool like pullover gloves that you remember those gloves everybody had when they were a kid they were the cotton gloves that were definitely not waterproof. They were just kind of elasticy. The stretchy cotton gloves that everybody's parents always bought them and your hands froze at
Oh
recess.
yeah.
They make those out of wool now, and those are fantastic. I've got two pairs each of those of fingerless and finger gloves, and they are phenomenal for keeping your hands warm, but still being able to do things with them.
Ooh, I've got one for you, and I
Mm-hmm.
actually am delinquent in this and need to fix that. Bootlaces.
Oh yeah, I keep a spare pair of bootlaces in my truck. I keep a spare pair in my toolbox at work, and then usually one right above my boots in the closet
Yeah,
because
I
they
need to
always
make a
break when you're somewhere else.
I need to make a point of like getting a couple extra pairs and just like stashing them away someplace. Even if they don't go like on a camping trip, whatever, because like let's face it, we've all done that thing where you unlace your laces and then you
Tie
tie
it
the
back
two broken pieces
together,
back
yeah.
together. But like for me, I always make a point of like I like to have things here at the house to fix problems. That way, when I find the problem, I'm not obligated like, oh, I got to go run out to the store. It's like, no, I'll just fix it here
Mm-hmm.
and then I'll replenish that thing.
Hey, a piece of paracord will do for a bootlace in the near term, but they don't stay tied as well
They really
as
don't.
as a regular boot lace,
I think it's
especially
a
like
tech.
the texture thing. Yep.
Yeah, it's a texture thing. I mean, 550 cord's good for a lot of things, but you better double and triple knot them damn things, and they're still not going to stay tied.
Regulus correct. Melted boot laces suck. They do. I do a bit of welding and at work now and then, and the hot steel chips will melt right through your boot laces too. So spare boot laces are always good. Jeff is correct. 550 cord does stretch, which is a potential bad for laces, but most of my boot laces I've ever had also stretch. You know, I've not even like the old leather boot laces, which my grandfather swore by as a welder. Those still stretched as you wore through the day.
Mm-hmm.
But,
I've always wondered how much of that was the laces stretching, and how much of that was like your foot like swelling and retaining water and shrinking and so on and so forth.
well, I know that when I buy a brand new pair of boot laces, usually what I'll do is I'll take off my old ones before they're totally thrashed and break. And if you hold them up next to each other, your 72-inch bootlace new and your 72-inch bootlace that was on your boot, they are not the same 72 inches anymore. The older ones have gotten longer.
Well, and I okay, so let me say this: stretching over time, I put full stock in that. I'm thinking about, does it stretch an appreciable amount throughout a day?
I can't imagine it wouldn't. At the very
Mm,
least, I don't know. Oh, you are applying tension to it.
yes,
So,
but it's a question of, okay, full nerd. It's a
mhm.
question of elastic stretch, or what is it called,
Plastic
plastic
deformation.
stretch. In other
Yeah.
words, like if it stretches but it's still elastic, then yeah, it stretches, but it tensions itself back up. Versus
Yeah.
it stretches and stays there, and then you
Hmm.
feel the need to like unlace them, tighten them up, and then retension them. Like, I don't know. I'd always been told by people that do a lot of like through hiking and everything that like your foot does change size over throughout the
Oh,
day.
oh, it absolutely will. If you, one thing you should definitely do if you are hiking and you're not used to hiking, after about a half hour, untie your boots, retie them. Because your foot will have swollen from being on your feet, not being used to it.
Yeah, slightly off topic, but I'll also say this much for anybody who's not used to wearing hiking boots a lot, do some research into the various ways to tie them, to lace them.
Mm-hmm.
Because
Huge difference.
I will say that when I first got my Solomons, I laced them up like just crisscross applesauce, like I'd always lace boots. And they were not the most comfortable thing on earth. They just pinched my foot in weird spots
Mm-hmm.
until I saw someone mention, like, hey, what I do is that I cross and then I come straight up and then
Mm-hmm.
cross. It's this weird way of lacing a boot, but after I tried it once, it's the only way I'll lace my boots from now
So
on.
if you feel the top of your foot about halfway back from the knuckle of your big toe to your ankle, if
Mm-hmm.
you feel up that line, there's a bump at that joint. There's actually a joint kind of in the middle of your foot, kind of like right here, where your foot flexes just a little bit. That's what you're skipping over, is that hump when you don't cross the laces on that middle portion of your boot. And that can make a huge difference depending on your foot shape and the shape of the boot. Which is why I never like recommending specific boots to people. You need to try them on.
Yep.
You need to see how they fit your feet because your feet are not my feet. I've tried Solomon boots. I fucking hate Solomon boots. I cannot wear those things for longer than 5 minutes. They just kill my arches in my feet.
I, I will happily admit that there are two kinds of people when it comes to Solomons.
Mm-hmm.
There are people that try to pair on and hated every minute of it,
Mm-hmm.
and then there's weirdos like me that are like, this is the first pair of boots I've ever tried on that fit right,
Uh-huh.
and
That is
I've
probably why
worn
you can't wear Red Wings.
never tried a set of Red Wings. Honestly, like I
Everybody
try,
I know that likes Solomon boots hates Red Wings
so I
so far.
tried when I tried these, I tried Solomons, Danners, and Keens.
Did you like the
Wait,
Keens?
no. Not Danner. Solomon, Keen, and Merrill.
Oh yeah, Merrill's a good boot.
Yeah, Merrill's a good boot. Just didn't fit. Did nothing fit my foot as well as the Solomons did.
Yeah. Did you like
I
the
didn't.
Keens?
I don't remember anything objectionable about the Keens, but there wasn't anything remarkable about them to me either. Like when I put on the
They
Solomon and I got my weight on them, I was like, "Oh God!" It's something in the it's something in the instep, in the arch support. Like I
Mhm.
couldn't tell you what it is, but there's just something about them. And Rag, I'll say that like I have a weird shaped foot. I have an arch, but I also have a very tall instep for
Mm.
no reason I can figure out. Like the actual dimension between like the very top of my foot, right where it turns north towards the ankle, and the floor just seems to be higher than most. So what I run into a lot is I run into boots that like pinch me right there.
Yeah.
And I don't get pain on the bottom of my foot. I get pain on the top from the boot like constantly compressing those bones. Or I get into a situation where I don't have enough arch support and then my feet just hurt all day. I couldn't tell you why. I will just say that yes, for God's sakes, please try on a good pair of boots for a minute before you spend 150 $200 on them. But I'll just say that like if you like Solomons, you'll probably be like me and you'll never buy anything else. And if you
Mhm.
don't like them, no hard feelings. They are a
No.
the experience I had trying them on for the first time. I can imagine that going in reverse for anybody whose foot is not shaped the way mine is. And
Oh
it
yeah.
just being the
I
most
had the
god awful
exact
boot you've
opposite
ever.
response. I
Yeah.
didn't even get them laced up before they were uncomfortable.
I had the opposite effect. Dude, I didn't even get them laced up. I just popped them on and stood up. Was like, "Up, this is
Woo!
it."
The
Yeah.
but believe it or not, you know those really shitty I think it was Belleville boots that the military was issuing out for a
Oh
long time.
God,
Those
yes.
fit my feet like they were made for me. It is the
Eh,
wildest thing. My buddy was in the Air Force and they gave out boots like candy to those guys and he gave me all of his boots because we had the same size feet and he couldn't wear them.
So every pair of boots I had while I was enlisted, I just had to accept the fact that my feet were going to hurt for like 6 weeks
Wow.
before I made before things started to like kind of give and mold
Yeah.
my foot. And that was the problem I had. It was where the laces hit right at the very top of my instep to the point where the one time I had to go and do an FTX in a relatively new pair of boots, I actually went up with a blister right there directly underneath the laces.
Oh yeah, that's corrected by just alternate lacing on them.
Yeah. But the other problem,
You know now. That's something that the military probably should have taught you.
oh, the military doesn't give a shit. They just tell you to suck it up, quit being a crybaby about it.
Yeah, probably.
I
I
mean,
don't know for the
maybe they
amount of
care. I was
I
gonna
don't
say maybe they care if like your SF or infantry or something like that. But if you're like me and I was an aircraft mechanic, they just like, oh, quit crying, just put them on, and shut up. You'll be fine. You don't need feet. Just walk around on stumps.
know. Jeff says you must have exactly average feet then. Tens, men's tens. I don't know. It's probably
Couldn't
about
even.
average for a guy my size. Who knows?
I couldn't tell you what size my shoes are at this point. Yes, Jeff. Everything can be fixed with drinking water and changing socks, which instantly we recommend.
There are very few things that a fresh pair of socks does not make better.
I could think of a few things, but this is a family friendly show.
That's fair.
Although fresh pair of socks probably wouldn't hurt those things either.
Right. I mean, it doesn't make it worse. That's all I'm saying. So why not try a fresh pair of socks?
All right. Well, I mean, this was your topic, and I have to admit, on the back of like, as we are approaching winter, and I've been dealing with weird weather lately.
Weird weather. We got a polar
Yeah,
vortex supposed to be coming down here in the next week or so.
I kind
We
of
could
welcome
get a
it.
week of rain or we could get a blizzard. Who knows?
Well, for the last 4 days, we've been getting what they're calling super fog down here.
What's a super fog?
Uh, it's fog where your visibility drops down to 20 yards.
Oh,
I got on the interstate the other
false.
morning, and I was moderately uncomfortable driving 40 miles an hour.
Huh. We
Bruh,
had a couple of days up on the lake this fall that were that way too.
yeah. I mean, I've driven in some pretty heavy downpours, man. Like, it's just the age old don't overdrive your headlights, don't overdrive the conditions. But I'm not gonna lie, the fog this year was it was worse that I think that I remember in previous years.
Hmm.
But it's
Interesting.
been very, very humid, but it hasn't been particularly cold in the morning. You know what I'm saying? Like, not cold enough to cause all that to fall. It's been kind of warm-ish and very, very humid.
What you call particularly cold is what? 50s?
Okay. I know that that's not cold, but what I'm saying
No,
is, like,
I'm asking for like a sense of scale here.
I mean, I don't
Because I
count.
was
Well,
fishing in 30-degree weather this fall already.
no, I'm cuddled up in front of a campfire at 30 degrees. No, I
I was
mean,
out
like,
on a boat in pissing rain.
well, I mean, okay, put it to this way. This morning, the low was 64 degrees. So by no means cold enough to get that
No,
fog to, like, you know,
you would
coalesce and
imagine not.
drop.
Huh.
Yeah, but humidity crazy high for this time of year. So yeah, we've been dealing with weird patches of fog.
Yeah, we're
But
seeing a really similar weather pattern up here to what we had, gosh, 10 or 12 years ago. And we ended up with not any like crazy blizzards, but we would have weeks where every single day we had 3 to 4 inches of snow. Every day. So this could be a very snowy winter.
see, this is
40s is
Gulf.
not cold.
This is Gulf Coast, man.
40s is sweater weather. 40s is sweater weather.
40s is like my wife on the couch under a heavy blanket telling me to turn the fireplace on weather.
And see, this is why I can't move further south. She loves snow. She does. She wants to go snowshoeing.
Yeah, my wife keeps on telling me that she wants to move further north, and then she starts thinking about the snow. It's like, maybe not that far north. So I don't know where we're going to wind up.
Well, if we get a very snowy winter, you're more than welcome to come visit us and mess around in the snow a little bit. I'll teach you how to drift. It'll be fun. We'll drift some pickups.
I cannot properly explain to you how little I look forward to snow.
But do you look forward to drifting pickups?
I've done it before.
Exactly. So the snow is worth it because you get to drift your pickup everywhere.
Yeah, my wife's got a point though. When you have when you've had a foot ripped off, cold hurts.
Okay, when you wear metal frame glasses like I do, and it's -30, cold hurts too. I mean,
That
there's a certain amount of cold that no matter how healthy you are or how uninjured you are, it's just painful.
See, that's just all the more reason why you should move further south.
Ah, see, Jeff says he'll take you sledding.
No,
You should try snow.
Jeff lives in hell.
And sledding is fun.
No, because people sled in snow.
Yes.
No,
Can't snowshoe without it.
your terms are acceptable.
Oh dear.
Besides, my wife would rather go to the beach, and she wears less clothing at the beach than she does when it's snowing. So,
That's
win-win.
fair. That is fair.
All right, 8:48 at night. We had a couple of stumbles earlier in this show. I don't know quite what happened. It seems like I fixed one technical problem and slammed face first into another. So we'll see how that
Gremlins.
worked out.
The
Yeah, well,
gremlins.
all I know is the the editing process is going to be really interesting on the back of all this.
It should be okay.
Yeah,
The rest of the stream was fairly stable, so that shouldn't be too bad for you. First 10 minutes.
knock on wood, Nick. Knock
Mm-hmm.
on wood. All right. Matter of fact, it's going to go out the door. I keep telling you guys, like, Nick's provided some great information about clothing, but we could just go to, like, combat boots, hockey masks, and spiked cod pieces and, fully embrace the
Good.
Mad Max vibe when the stuff pops off. That is
I'm
always
just
an
saying.
option.
Leather jackets are always a vibe.
I had a thought, but it's a family-friendly show. All right. Matter of fact, going out the door. Bye, everybody. Stay safe, stay dressed, and stay out the weather. Talk to you another week. Bye.
Good night.